Good morning, Andrew. How are
Good
you?
morning, Matt. Good.
I don't know. I think you're a little tired. I think we both are.
My voice is definitely a little bit rough from just hanging out in hospitality and at the pubs with the loud music and trying to talk over it when chatting with brothers at fellowship. So my voice is a little rough and tumble.
Right. You sound more like me right now than yourself.
Wait, maybe I am Matt. You guys don't know who's who right now. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're back for day 2 of annual communications. Hopefully get some more good interviews today. We had a really exciting day yesterday with all those interviews, and looking forward to, hearing the new Grandmasters playing.
Yep, hearing the new Grandmasters plan. I mean, easy day. We have 2 resolutions, which are the classics, the budget and the per capita, which is just easy ones. And then, and then you're doing a presentation, which will be fun. And it'll be a good day.
Give the new Grandmasters honorary membership in the Low 12 Masonic Riders Association. So
there you go.
That's something we decided to do every year for every Grandmaster. So, he gets a framed patch and a little certificate, making him a honorary member whether he rides or not. So
always super fun.
Yeah. So
cool. Well, we'll see. We'll see how many brethren we have come down and visit us today. I can see. I'm not the only one who's a little tired right now.
I think a lot of these people are a lot tired.
Tired from good fellowship with their brethren. So,
right.
We will see who comes on down and gives us a chat.
All right. Excellent.
Loosen up your ties and roll up your sleeves. It's time for fellowship with Matt and Andrew. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin or any other Grand Lodge or any appended body.
What's going on, brother?
Annual communication.
Get a little closer to the mic for us. There you go. About a fist away.
So,
there you go.
For our listeners, can you please introduce yourself and what lodge you're from?
Sure. My name is Cruz Gracia. I'm from Hiram Lodge 50 in Madison, Wisconsin.
Sure. So Cruz is a good friend of ours. We always look forward to seeing him at annual communication.
One of the highlights of coming to Madison is getting to spend some time with Cruz.
You guys.
So what originally brought you from Freemasonry?
Well, I'd moved to Madison February 2017, and I didn't have any family or friends here because I moved here for work. And I've always had a thing with wanting to join Freemasonry ever since college, when I joined my college fraternity. And I figured, now's a good time as any, so made sure that at least the Grand Lodge was correct or regular, because I heard that might be a thing even before I joined. And I found the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin. I emailed them. About a couple weeks later, someone from Hiram reached out to me, and that gentleman ended up being my poster and being a guide to my first Masonic journey. Shout out to Craig Freilich.
That's awesome.
Awesome. What keeps you around in Freemasonry?
Oh, man. Well, there's always something to do in Freemasonry, regardless of what your interests are. And if it's something that doesn't interest me, I can at least point brethren in the right direction. It's like, oh yeah, that's your guy for this, that's your guy for that. Like my personal interests, little bit of esoteric, little bit of ritual, like helping out with degrees. And anything, if you need me to sit in a chair someplace, I'm your guy.
Don't open it up to too many people. You're going to get busy if you do that, Cruz.
Oh, well, I've already seen that. I'm 2-time worshipful master.
Yep.
And that was a very pleasant experience. Especially helping my lodge go through what they needed to go through, and now membership's grown, and it's such a vibrant lodge. We have a full progressive line.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm really happy that I helped in some small way to grow that.
Oh, that's great. And you kind of undersold your credentials earlier. You're a district representative now too, huh?
As of yesterday.
As of yesterday, I'm a district representative for District 7. and it's my second go around with that. And yeah, part of the what I explained earlier about going to other lodges and helping them out, I was in an official capacity able to do that for one lodge. And now that lodge, has vastly improved after a couple of years. So really happy that in some small way I helped out with that.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. I'm glad to see you making another go-around at the district representative thing.
So my focus, in addition to what I had done, will be communications. So I'll be in charge of sending out our newsletter.
Okay.
Be taking that over from a retiring district rep. And yeah, shouldn't be that bad of a big deal. Kind of do this in my day job anyway, kind of. I do IT for a living, so yeah, that kind of communications is kind of in my wheelhouse.
Sure.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having you on for a quick interview, and appreciate it, and congratulations again on your new role.
No, thanks for having me, Matt and Andrew.
Thanks for popping on, Cruz.
No worries.
If we don't see you before we leave, we'll have to touch base sooner than once a year.
Well, I think I've told you I'll be in Milwaukee in a couple weeks.
For your Royal Arch,
for my Royal
2 weeks,
Arch.
yep. I'll be in that degree. It'll be fun.
I'm crossing my fingers, hoping I can make it. We'll see how it plays out. So.
No, always a good time when I'm in the Milwaukee area. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris. Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
I'm good. Ready for the last day of annual communication for 2024.
Same. Brother, can you please introduce yourself to our guests with your lodge credentials?
Of course. I am Brother Dan Pappas. I am the current sitting worshipful master of Wisconsin Lodge 13.
Wisconsin 13, one of the ones on our list left to finish up our Traveling Lodge Award. We're going to come see you soon.
Well, we'll likely have an MM degree at the end of August, so if there was ever a time.
That might work.
It could work.
You guys are also a Thursday lodge, so that causes some issues.
True, but that's the
sometimes.
third Thursday.
Yeah, we
that's
might
true.
be able to do that.
might
Otherwise,
be
we'll
able
see
to
you
make
for
its
a
way.
stated.
Might be able to swing it. It could be good.
The first Thursday is easier because the trustee meeting's going on that night, so I never schedule anything else on those nights.
That's probably for the best. That's probably for the best.
So
Yep.
We'll have to figure it out. That's been the one. So with the Traveling Lodge, you have to have one principal and two other guys go. So there's two other lodges in our district that meet on Thursdays, and we've been so busy we're pretty much doing something every Thursday, which makes you two, the last two we're doing, the difficult ones.
This makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, especially because I live so much closer to Lake Lodge than I do my home lodge that the amount of times I want to come to your degrees and do stuff, but I'm like, wait a minute, I have to go open and run my lodge. I can't just not show up today.
Right.
Makes it a little bit more difficult to come play with you guys.
Well, we're like opposite that way because I live closer to where you guys meet than I do Lake, and you live closer to Lake than where you guys
It takes me about 3 to 5 minutes to get to Lake, and every time I visit you guys, I'm like, man, why didn't I join this lodge? Why didn't I know about this one? But that's neither here nor there. I love my boys. I love my lodge.
Right. No, you guys got some good stuff going on over at 13.
Yeah.
But 13's not even that far. I mean, what, 18 minutes?
No. The worst is the summer when Brewers traffic is in town, and I have to go through both the Marquette and the Zoo interchange to get there. So sometimes it's taken me upwards of an hour to get to Lodge just with how bad traffic is.
And you're barely going anywhere. It's just like you're just in gridlock.
Yeah. It's like, it's 7 miles that way, but it's going to take you an hour. It's New York traffic rules sometimes.
Oh, God.
So how's the first half of your year gone?
It's been good. We've been busy with a lot of degrees. We've done 2 Fellowcraft degrees to start the year off. We've done 2 Master Masons.
Nice.
Just did a 3rd Fellowcraft degree back the second meeting in May, which we were excited about the timeline on that, so we can give that brother summer where we meet a little bit less frequently with everything going on to really get his stuff together. He's planning on posting on that second meeting in July, so we can do that MM degree in August.
Right on.
We've had a couple of new petitioners come in, so as much as I've had grand ideas of getting out and doing a lot of stuff and social activities with the lodge, that hasn't happened so much.
You got stuck
but we've
doing
been
work.
so busy with bringing light to the craft and bringing people in and moving people through the ranks and getting them where they're going, that I'm not upset that I haven't been able to get all the social outings that I wanted together, because we're bringing a lot of good men.
Problem to have.
It is. It's honestly the best problem to have when it comes to, stuff in the lodge. And it's just, I'd love to be doing the social stuff, and if we weren't growing or if we were kind of stagnant, it'd be a lot easier to schedule that.
Sure.
But we're growing. We got a lot of stuff to do. Plus, we just we cooked for dinner last night. We had our pulled pork and our beans here.
How many pounds of pulled pork did you guys do?
I want to say it was about 280 pounds pulled pork, rendered down to about 180, 190. And we lose about...
Yeah. You lose bone, you lose a lot of fat.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we did 6 batches of our beans as well. And there's... 5 different types of beans and brisket and, in those. And by about an hour in to the dinner last night, the catering chef here told us that there was exactly 1 tray of pork left and maybe a tray and a half of beans total. Wow. And so people destroyed that within the first hour that dinner was available yesterday.
You guys do a phenomenal job.
I hustled through that line. I was like, I know this is going to go.
I walked up to the booth and they're like, "Oh, did you register?" I said, I cooked the meat. I didn't think I had to.
Yeah.
And then I just walked past them. I'm like, I made the meat. I'm going in.
Yeah, like you can go find the most merciful master if you're mad. I think he'll be like, yeah, it's fine.
I'm sure Tom will be like, oh no, he's good. He's good.
Yeah. They spent hours and hours on that. Yep.
This is something we should talk about in the future, but I would really love to see us do a barbecue competition in District 12.
I think there's enough people in District 12 who love barbecue and do a really good job of making barbecue.
Yep.
I would be thrilled to participate in something like that. And whether it's the individual lodges participating or if it's individual Masons and a lodge hosts it, and then, come up with, find people who can be unbiased judges and then do people's choice kind of stuff.
Right.
Maybe make a fun, silly little trophy that can travel between the lodges or whatever. That could be a lot of fun.
Out of a pair of tongs or something. Yeah.
Oh, naturally, so long as they still click.
Right.
Yeah, they
still got to be able to click.
Still got to click the tongs.
Yep.
How long have you been a Mason, Dan? We'll get back to the questions we should have been asking away from the chit-chat.
Sorry, my bad.
That's good. This is what we do on this podcast.
I joined in June of 2016, and then I was raised to a Master Mason February 2nd, 2017.
Okay.
So that would be 7 years now, which is wild that it's been that long. Does not feel like it's been that long.
Yeah.
At all.
Time flies, we're having fun.
True. For sure. What's kept you around?
Honestly, it is the brothers in my lodge more than anything. The experience that I had when I was petitioning and going around, I visited a couple of lodges, and I enjoyed all of the lodges that I visited. But when I got to 13, they told me show up at this time. We eat after our meetings, so it was later than I was anticipating going out to meet with these guys. But I sat down around the table. Chuck was our junior warden at the time, and he had just made, as simple as it sounds, but like Cuban sandwiches.
Nice.
It was probably the best Cuban I think I've ever had.
Chuck can cook.
Chuck can cook. But I sat around and it felt like I had known everybody at that table for years immediately. There was just something that immediately transcended, like, I'm meeting guys and trying to join this fraternity that I don't really know too much about at the time. It's like, I didn't give much stock to the Nicolas Cage shit or stuff. I don't know if I can do that on this podcast.
It happens.
We try to do it sparingly, but it happens.
Is the editing machine broken?
I'm not
are we out of
going
bleeps?
to edit it.
Okay,
You're just going to be that guy.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Not for that one. We won't edit that one out.
Okay. Excuse me while I go on a rant about someone we all know. No. But yeah, like it was just this immediate familial connection that has maintained the entire time, and it's been just absolutely incredible that I know I can call any of those guys about anything, really.
Sure.
Just to, chit-chat, or when I actually need advice on something, and they've all been there for me the entire time. And it's also hard to say that, like, the barbecue itself that we do that hasn't kept me around.
I mean,
the
it's a fun bonding thing to do. Make barbecue together.
We get a little frustrated with each other during the event, but when you look back at it afterwards, it's like, man, that was awesome.
Well, when you're managing a giant event like that, it definitely can become a little stressful, and passions can run a little high sometimes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Can't stand the heat. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And then sometimes everyone's in the kitchen
line there.
And then that's sometimes the problem we have. Everyone's in the kitchen, and everyone can stand the heat, but no one has any room to move, and then the screaming starts.
Yep. Been in kitchens like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for popping on with that. So we're doing quick hitters, so I don't keep you for too long. But yeah, we definitely. We've been trying to schedule him to actually join us for a full-length episode.
Yeah, we got to get that going
as well.
Yeah, it'll be easier once you're all moved in and ready to go into your new spot.
Yep.
Yeah, once he finishes moving into that new house, but it'll be really easy once we build a recording studio in your basement.
Once I get the radon out of there.
No, that's fun. We love radon. It's so much fun. Awesome. Well, thank you, brothers. Enjoy the rest of your annual communication. I'm sure I'll see you soon.
To you as well.
All right. We got another lovely guest here joining us from Annual Communication. Brother, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
My name is Alex Nelson. I am a past master of Superior Lodge number 236. And by the time this episode goes live, I will be District Education Officer for District 1.
Ooh, congratulations.
Why, thank you.
What are you looking forward to about being the District Education Officer?
Honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to the travel. District 1 is kind of spread out a little bit, so I live up in Duluth. So it's going to be,
the tippy top.
Be some speedy drives after work to get down to,
Sure.
Rice Lake and all that. But really looking forward to getting out and visiting the lodges that I haven't really got to go out to a whole lot yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a cool part. And then doing education is just fun, too.
It is.
Yep.
The Grand Lodge of Wisconsin has a lot of great stuff already, so I'm really looking forward to sharing all that with the brothers who may not know about it right now, but also, throw a little bit of stuff that the guys are interested in themselves,
Sure.
Come up with programs so not only are we giving them the stuff we already have, but so they start building their own education programs in their lodges.
Teach a man to fish.
Absolutely.
Yep. It's a great idea. I was listening to the Further Light podcast the other day, and they were talking about how much you can do with education. Mm-hmm. And one of the interesting things was they were talking about, and you look at old minutes, like, what were they educating on? They would have topics on masonry. They might do a body dissection because apparently that was in vogue in the 1800s. Yep. They might do a lecture on, just something that they're like, I'm an expert in, neurology. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what I'm working on for the general education, too. So when you're doing education, the sky's basically the limit.
It is. There's so much stuff you can do, not only with the masonry and the esoteric stuff, the, occultism, that sort of cool stuff, but also, I forgot the word.
Liberal arts and sciences.
Not the liberal arts and sciences, not the metaphorical, but the...
Allegorical?
No.
Symbolic. The applied masonry?
Practical.
Yep.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm looking forward to is not only doing the esoteric stuff, the, more occulty sort of things, but also the practical stuff, cybersecurity for a lot of the guys in my district who are older than, probably down in Milwaukee or down in Madison.
Sure.
Or, doing stuff like bringing in people from our community who run these, super cool organizations and having our brothers go out and be a part of, these things like in Duluth. They have chum, which is a sort of a food.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's bait for fish, right?
No, it's, sorry. Long day, I lost my train of thought.
And to our listeners, when we use the word occult, some people might be like, ugh. But all that means is hidden. So within our symbols and our mysteries, we all have, there's levels to the symbolism. So I know that sometimes that can be a buzzword for people, but generally when we use it as Masons, we throw esoteric and occult around occasionally. We're talking about the things within the ritual that can be unpacked, that are not always right on the surface, that the Mason has to, the industrious inquirer has to go into and search out. But yeah, I think that's going to be a fun role. I'm sure you're excited going into it.
I'm very excited. I first learned that this might happen a few months ago when our now Grand Master Tom Stevens came up for our District 1, district-wide meeting. And we had talked about it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, I'd be interested.
Sure.
So definitely something I'm very excited about, very exciting about traveling and, getting to know these guys that I've met here and there, but now I'm going to get to actually go to their lodges and bring them something too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us for a quick interview, and I'm sure the Brethren of District 1, right?
District 1.
The first district. You're going to be looking forward to seeing you visit in their lodges.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right, how you doing, brother?
I am doing very well.
For our listeners, introduce yourself, and you're over at Rock River, and give them your quick Masonic credentials.
My name is Josh Pressure. I'm with Rock River Masonic Lodge, number 108, probably one of the best. Currently, I serve as the Worshipful Master.
Yep, that's what I've been seeing, and it looks like, so what I'm interested in, it looks like Rock River's doing a lot now.
We have been.
What is the highlight of your year so far?
Ooh, highlight of the year. I mean, personal or the lodge or
both?
Let's say the personal, I think, was a representation of the Masonic Journal.
Okay.
This past month here, we had a rendezvous that was represented in there called the Bloody Lake Rendezvous, and a bunch of Masons go down there. I've recently joined Perseverance Lodge.
Okay.
And they're a group of reenactors who do reenactment lodges. And
so they're the ones walking around all
correct.
kitted out.
You will see me tomorrow in a 1803 Continental Soldier, full getup and regalia. I'll be sitting with my brothers from Perseverance Lodge. So
I love that those guys are. I like that we passed the bill to help with the specialty lodges and like the niche lodges, because when those guys come to meetings, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I like this.
There's a lot of care that goes into each one of those outfits, and so many of those guys are so history knowledgeable, and that makes it really fun. One of the things, and I just sidetrack on it. So I have been waiting to go to a lodge, a Perseverance Lodge, at a rendezvous, because the Tyler actually has to do his job. Now, if you know anything about rendezvousers, buckskinners, or any of the like, they always have weapons on them. We'll have a knife, a tomahawk, another knife, a gun, maybe a pistol on us. So the Tyler has to tap you down, take all your offensive weapons, and put them on a blanket outside of the lodge, and his job is actually to guard them. So when you go up to these lodges, there's this pile of weapons. So I'm waiting for that experience still.
For our listeners, can you explain more about what rendezvousers are and what they do, and like what's the deal with that hobby and that kind of thing?
Generally, it's the French Indian fur trade reenactors. That's about that time from about, say, 1740 to about 1840, give or take a few years, depending on. You dress up and you do historical cosplay, basically. The public often come in. It's usually, let's say, Friday, Thursday or Friday. They'll have the public come in. They'll invite public schools or other, usually children organizations.
For like an education thing.
An education day. You'll sit there, and I had done for years, I did the fire starting demo.
Okay.
So I would teach little boys and girls how to start fires in 8 seconds or less using flint and steel.
Cool.
So the purpose of it is educational and fun. As soon as the public goes away, it is a very welcoming, very inviting, like familiar community of people. We all know each other. We see each other about every other weekend, and just a great group of guys, really.
Yeah, it's like role players, but they're picking a specific period, so you can do a lot of care into designing period piece that's accurate to the time. It looks like there's a lot of just boys being dudes sometimes. Like, we're going to throw axes today. Or we're going to, guys having fun, but also, appreciating, like in Masonry, we like to, one of the cool things is we're kind of sharing a link to the past, and it feels intimate.
Yes.
And I feel like the reason, there's other lodges around the country that do similar things with various period pieces like that, and I think it's just another step to be like, well, I like to connect with history in an intimate way, so then you can do that as well.
I recently changed my character. I was a buckskinner, so I would have been like a northern trapper out in the woods like that, and coming from that, I'm now a Continental Soldier, 1803. So a little bit of time period change, but in that, I've been able to refocus into the history of that, specifically the Lewis and Clark expedition. Finding out, as you dig into that further, you find out the little Masonic stuff, how many Masons were with Lewis and Clark on their expedition.
How many?
I don't actually know the answer.
Take it, Josh.
Don't answer. It was either most of them or 14 of them, but I'm crossing a couple stories there, so I don't want to speak as to knowledge, but you learn so much about that specific time period, and also I found it really very interesting to do the 1803 Continental Soldier because of 1776, the formation of the federal government, those concepts, and many of our founding fathers, Masons, Freemasons out there practicing. So it is really wonderful to see it was really prevalent on the frontier as well as in the cities. So
I mean, on the frontier it was nice because there wasn't as established cities or anything, so you had to find a way to build a community you could trust while you're a lot of times very mobile and stuff like that. So it really suits that environment. That's why you see military lodges too and stuff like that, where they're like, I need brotherhood in the wilds, basically.
Yes.
So it's very cool.
This is very, very cool. That was one of the personal highlights that I had was being able to have my picture was in the Masonic Journal along with many other Masons there, and just a showcase of the rendezvous thing. And there have been so many milestones at our lodge, Rock River 108 there. So many, hard to list them all of late. We've given stuff to charity, obviously, the scholarships and everything like that. It's just so fun when you get with a bunch of guys who are actually active, participating, being a part of those things. And we have a very active young lodge mixed with the old. We just had a brother, Emil Lasage, who just did his 60 years. Oh, wow. And we have a segment called Meet a Mason now. It's in every lodge meeting. And we have a bunch of random questions that kind of stimulate them to give a little bit more information than just, what's your favorite color, how tall are you, where did you work?
It's kind of like what we do here on Time for Fellowship.
Where you guys are pulling stuff out of the guys. So Emil gets up there, and he's the old guy, and we all give him the old guy respect. And he starts telling stories about some of the checkered past, as we sit on the checkered table here, his checkered past, and those stories got everybody in the lodge just grinning, just to make he's so approachable, and it's so nice to hear those stories. So we have old and young, and everybody's active, and it's really an encouragement getting things done. So those are all some of the milestones.
Sure. Well, I appreciate you coming down for a quick interview and spending some time at Fellowship with us. Thank you, Josh.
I really appreciate you guys and your podcast. Thanks for
Thank you. Sorry I came in late. I was getting pulled in a few different directions there. That tends to happen.
As the masters tend to do that. You guys have a great day.
You too. I'll see you around. Hi, brother. Welcome to Fellowship. For our listeners, introduce yourself, your lodge, all that good stuff.
My name is Brian Johns. I'm the district representative for 12. One of them, anyway. My lodge is Freemasons 363. I'm a past master there.
Cool. What
Traveling Apron Award winner?
Yeah. That's a good point.
There and get did earn that last year.
What was what's the highlight of this year for you in Masonry? What was the most fun thing that you've been doing?
Traveling. Yeah. I kind of took a page out of Matt's book and followed him around a couple months later and was able to get my traveling apron. But that's basically my job with Grand Lodge as well. Is
traveling.
I've got the best job. I just get to go around and meet all the brothers and check out all the lodges.
What have you liked about being a district rep, besides the traveling, which is a fun part?
Well, that's basically what I do. So, yeah, it really is the traveling. It's sitting down and having dinner with guys at various lodges. It is the traveling portion. It's going and seeing how every lodge does stuff just a little bit different.
But yeah, and then you get, it's cool that they loosened up those boundaries for the reps a little bit so that you guys can have a little more flexibility, but then also you get more face time with different lodges that you might not have traditionally been able to.
Well, exactly. I don't think there was ever a prohibition against DRs visiting lodges they weren't assigned to, but now that's totally removed, I think people are more comfortable doing it. Which is great.
Well, it's like teamwork makes the dream work on that one. You can just all be like, hey, I can't make it this lodge this month, but I would like someone to go. And you're like, who's got availability? And you're like, all right, let's go.
And it's never a big deal if, two of the DRs show up at the same lodge on the same night.
Even better.
Yeah.
Right.
Double D.
Double DD. Does that make it 4 Ds then?
I don't know. I'm not going to figure it out. Brian, what got you into Freemasonry?
Oh, boy. So, like a lot of people our age, certain Nicolas Cage movies didn't hurt. but honestly, I was putting together family photos going back well over 100 years. And one of the pictures I ended up with was a photograph that was taken of my great-grandfather's obituary.
Okay.
And he was a Mason in Wausau Forest Lodge up there and a member of the Scottish Rite Valley of Eau Claire. And I went, oh, boy, I did have somebody in my family. I was young. I think I was about 6 or so when he died. So, of course, I never had the opportunity to ask him about it at all. But that's kind of what really finally pushed me to find somebody who was.
And when you joined, how long have you been a Mason?
I think I was raised in 2010.
Okay. So when you joined, what was the process? You just reached out to the Grand Lodge? Did you just go right directly and said, I want to be in this one?
Yeah, so back then, my friends from college and I hung out at the one bar that all your buddies hang out at. And there was a guy there that I met, and we ended up hanging out and, shaking dice and playing pool and all that kind of good stuff. And I don't even know how the topic came up, but he said, oh, yeah, I'm a Mason. And happened to be a member at my lodge and introduced me to Jan Talaga. And of course,
Jan.
so those were my top and bottom line signers.
The elder or the younger?
The younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, it's awesome having you on for a quick interview. We're just doing quick hitters, so I won't torture you and make you sit here all day. But yeah, we definitely should get him on the podcast for a full-length time when we get an opportunity. That'd be a fun one.
For sure. No, that'd be a great episode.
We also are using this to
we
test
talk
talent.
traveling.
Sure.
We get snippets of tons of people, so we can be like, ooh, let's get some more from this guy later kind of thing. So it's always fun.
It's perfect. That's
Awesome.
perfect.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. It's illustrious, brother, right? For 33rd?
No, just brother.
All right, fine.
brother.
We won't say anything about that.
It's already on recording, so we already got
you're
it.
already recording. All right.
We'll just keep it. It's all of our listeners' little secret now.
They got to hear his humility now.
Well, welcome, brother. Please introduce yourself to our listeners with whatever credentials you want to offer, I guess.
Welcome, Matt. Welcome, Andrew. Hello. It's Mike Reindl. I'm past master of Freemasons Lodge 363 and currently secretary-treasurer of the Valley of Milwaukee Scottish Rite.
Oh, fun. So we haven't had a lot of Scottish Rite members on our podcast yet. What have you enjoyed the most about joining the Valley?
Continuing fellowship and the degree work. Very active in the degree work. Have been in degrees. I have directed now 3 different degrees, so they're very near and dear to Scottish Rite's heart and very near and dear to my heart. So it's fun to partake in that, present the lessons, get some of the, there's ego involved. You get a little bit of the accolades if you do a good job, like when you confer a good degree, right, Matt?
Yep.
So
Scottish Rite is a little more dramatic, too, in their degree presentations than like your Blue Lodge degrees.
And it allows a little more poetic license, if you will, in
a little
the
more flair.
Yeah. So while maintaining the lesson and the dignity of
Most
the
definitely.
degree. So.
Yeah.
What would be like so a lot of Masons who listen are probably, some of them are newer guys. They haven't joined any independent bodies. What's the big, I wouldn't want to say selling point because that's not quite the word. What's the big draw for the Scottish Rite? So you have the extra degrees, you get fellowship across various lodges, all are in the Valley, so you get to meet brethren. I've heard their education's good.
Education is great. One of the things Scottish Rite has done, and we're very blessed with our leadership organization, which is the Supreme Council, the Not Just a Man, a Mason program, originated from the Northern Masonic jurisdiction, Supreme Council. And they put that all together, and that initially, the branding of that, never in any of that, Not Just a Man, a Mason, was Scottish Rite ever mentioned, and that was done intentionally to further the fraternity at the Blue Lodge level.
Yeah.
That if you build the ground foundation, eventually those brothers will move on to the other appendant bodies. Now, Scottish Rite has followed up Not Just a Man, a Mason with the Journey On program, which is more specifically targeted to Scottish Rite.
Sure.
Which then hits on some of the tenets of Scottish Rite over and above Blue Lodge tenets, but a lot of devotion to country, a lot of education, a lot of charitable work, as well as COVID really was something that I think helped Scottish Rite, because it took Scottish Rite had been up to that point committing a lot of the degrees to recorded versions.
Sure.
Back then, DVDs. Now you can get them streamed with proper credentials. But Scottish Rite, because the degrees were recorded, that afforded a phenomenal opportunity during COVID when we couldn't meet. They came up with Thursday Night at the Rite, where the Scottish Rite degrees were presented. You logged in with your membership number That was what Tyler looked for to get you through, and you were able to watch degrees online, and they've continued to do that now, even post-COVID. That from January, usually it's January through April, leading up to the spring reunion time.
They are really cool. I got to watch one of them. But, of course, we meet on Thursday nights, and we are a very busy lodge, as you know. So it's very hard to get away to be able to do Thursday night at the Rite.
Well, one of the things I'd love to see them do, and I know others in Scottish Rite have mentioned it, is if they're going to show a degree, have more of a window of time afterwards. Because Thursday night at the Rite is a great slogan, tagline, all of that, and it brings guys together. But for those situations where either your lodge night is Thursday night or you have something on a Thursday night, God forbid your wife might have something that you have to do. I really wanted to see back in April, Valley of Madison had the 20th degree recorded in January, and it was shown in April. And, heaven forbid that would be the night that you couldn't see something. Fortunately, it wasn't for me because I wanted to see how Valley of Madison did, and they did almost as good as the Valley of Milwaukee.
Oh, geez, shots fired.
Absolutely.
I think we had stated that night that one was going on. But, I mean, if you look at Scottish Rite, I know I haven't been active since I went through my reunion, but I kind of fell into my worshipful year. So when I went through the reunion, I kind of looked at it like Scottish Rite was very philosophy orientated and very, like you mentioned earlier, education orientated between the Pathfinder program and the Outgrad Academy and everything else. It's really set up for people who want to dive deeper into the symbolism and the meanings behind some of the stuff.
It's kind of Silas Shepherd on steroids.
I've heard a tagline that people like to use online where they say the Scottish Rite is a journey of enlightenment and the York Rite is a journey of faith. And they're like, so a lot of people like to get both because they're both dealing in similar topics, but from different perspectives and different ways to view it. And, similar reasons why I can't join the Scottish Rite yet is because the time slot, but I've always been interested, and I'm active right now in chapter. I got the council degrees, but I'm not really active there, and I haven't done commandery, but I also am interested in the Scottish Rite. It's just waiting for the right time, and I purposely am slow rolling it because I'm so young. I'm like, why do I get all the experiences at once? I can drag it out.
Well, and I applaud you for that, because I think it's not anything original for me, but one of the challenges that we have as leaders in independent bodies and Masons is a guy becomes a Mason. Oh, you got to join this, and all of a sudden, how come we're not seeing Joe anymore? Well, you got him involved in too many things.
And that can cause burnout, too, if you're not careful. They try to bite off too much.
Exactly. Burnout or, your significant other, you're gone again, those types of things and et cetera. You have to do it at your pace and at the right time.
I very much appreciated that when I went through my reunion because I essentially told you guys, hey, I'm here for my reunion. I've wanted to be a Scottish Rite member, so I'm going to do it. But just so you know, I'm going into the East at Lake next year. You're probably not going to see me for a year. Well, and everybody was very respectful and understanding of that, and it was excellent.
You have to be, because if you're not, you're never coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
And why do we want to do that to a brother?
Right.
And, it's like if an appendant body doesn't respect your obligations to your Blue Lodge, you're almost like, where do you get off? And you're like,
exactly.
I'm making Masons, dude.
Exactly.
Like, you need me.
Well, and you guys, what you guys have done with the podcast and the activities at Lake Lodge and et cetera, is amazing. And that only builds not only opportunities for other guys to want to get involved in Masonry, but to want to get involved in other appendant bodies as well.
Yep.
It's planting seeds.
And at their own pace. And if you have a strong home base, like at your mother lodge, like you have good roots there, you always have a place when you're like this is my home, and now I have a comfortable place and a schedule that I'm used to that I can now start to branch out and help at appendant bodies. And when you're in Blue Lodge, you're honing a lot of the skills that you will need if you take on stuff independent bodies too. So Absolutely. It all blends together in
Absolutely.
a good way.
And there are some guys who, the year they were master of their lodge, they were also head of a line in Scottish Rite. And it's like, you have a death wish.
I can't imagine. I mean, I already have a part-time job just being worshipful master
Absolutely.
this year. Yeah, on top of my full-time job, on top of having an almost 3-year-old at home.
Yeah.
Like, if I was involved in another line right now, I think I'd go crazy. Either that or I wouldn't do a good job at any of it.
Something's going to suffer somewhere.
Right.
And that's not good in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So
cool. Well, we promise to keep it short, but thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
I'd love
for
to
having
get you
me.
back on the podcast sometime. We go really in depth about the Scottish Rite because I've been trying to get more and more representatives from various appendant bodies. Just because it's a low-hanging fruit topic that everyone likes to hear about. So
be happy to join you for that.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you,
brothers. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you. All right, we got a special guest coming out. He did a really good speech at our annual communication. Dewey, can you please introduce yourself, and who are you? What's going on?
Of course. Well, my name is Dewey Michael Tennyson, and I am the current State Master Counselor of Wisconsin de Malaya.
Excellent. How's that been for you?
I mean, this year has been one of my most amazing years for my de Malaya career. I've learned so much, not only from our EO, but I've learned so much from Ryan Teeley and his father. I've got to get to know so many Masons and everything, and I got to see on what I want to be in my future. So it's been an amazing year so far.
Excellent.
Dewey, how old are you?
I'm 21.
21 years old. And how long have you been in de Malaya?
I've been in de Malaya since I was basically 9 years old. I've known Sean Noble my whole life. He's known my family for 40 plus years. We've lived next door to each other, so I've done de Malaya before I even was at de Malaya.
So what has your big goal been as State Master Counselor?
My goal has been to obviously get more chapters involved and even create more chapters, which we have done and we're still working on. And my other goal was to travel around to see what other jurisdictions do so I can improve Wisconsin de Malaya more. And that's what I've done. I've traveled to, obviously, Minnesota, because I go there each year. And then I went to California for Northern California's convention just to see what they do and what they provide differently than what we do. And I've got so many items that they do differently than we do, and I'm bringing it, and I've brought it back to Wisconsin. And that's why, because of them, we are more flexible and everything on our Squire program. And we are taking off with this because Green Bay, they started a whole Squire chapter up there, and so because of them, we're...
And for our listeners who aren't as privy to the de Malaya stuff, what is the Squire chapters? What's their deal?
The Squire chapters is basically the pre-de Malayas. They are anywhere from 9 to 11, where we're going to teach them sort of what de Malaya is, but slowly, just so because we feel like when kids are younger, they're not going to understand so much, so we're going to slowly provide them information for what de Malaya is. So that's what Squires pretty much is.
So it's kind of like a program to prepare a future de Malaya to be a de Malaya.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And then what is the big draw for de Malaya as a youth group? Like I don't want to say what's the sales pitch, but kind of, like what is the draw that you think is what sets you apart as a youth group that gives you like your uniqueness?
That is a great question that honestly I've never gotten before. Our goal, well specifically this year, whenever I had to sit down with Sean Vollmer, he told me to every open house I go to and every parent I talk to, just tell them like what de Malaya and how it is. And I always say that de Malaya is an organization for kids from anywhere from 12 to we do 12 to 18 because that's when we mostly want them in, because obviously if we do like 2021, their career is going to end soon. And we just tell them straight up that it's about a brotherhood and how our goal is to get them closer to one each other and teach them on how to like respect their parents, on how to respect anything and everything they see. So that's honestly, anytime I go to an open house or speak to a parent, that's all I tell them.
So one of the tenets of de Malaya is cleanliness, right?
Yes.
That's one of them. How many stinky kids do you think there had to be because they were like, we need to codify this in a ritual so people take a shower?
Wow, Andrew.
I'm glad he said that one. Every convention or any Sweetheart Weekend we have, there's always a few kids that feel they don't know what a shower deodorant is. So we always we give them like pretty much a bag right when they come in, and there's always deodorant, extra deodorant, and more deodorant. And sometimes we give them shower stuff so they get the hint that they're going to need to take showers, especially for convention. It's going to be hot.
Yep.
And sometimes some of the rooms, air conditioning might suck. So that room, if they don't know what a shower is or anything is, that room is going to reek. So we just let them know straight up, like, hey, it's hot outside, and for some reason, if your air conditioning doesn't work, your room is going to stink unless you take care of your body. And then that's whenever we always tell them, we're like, one of the things is cleanliness, and that's what like I said, that's what some of them need to focus on more than the other.
It's immediately a successful thing. You're like, you're a better person because you don't stink. Thank you.
Yes.
So I've gotten to know a few of you guys over the years of being a Mason, seen a lot of you do public speaking presentations, and I have to say, from an outsider's perspective on DeMolay, somebody who's only been a Mason for 6 years, hasn't really been involved with them, I have to give you guys major kudos for how well you do with public speaking, how well you guys do with memory work and leadership skills. I mean, I really feel like the organization is designed to set you guys up for success and to teach you those skills that, like, DeMolay would have been hugely beneficial for me when I was younger because I deathly afraid of public speaking. It was like the scariest thing on the face of the planet. I just couldn't do it. So, like, I'm always impressed by how well spoken you guys are and how you're willing to get up in a room of 500 people and just talk like it not that big of a deal.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I was the same way. Whenever I was 12, 13 years old, and they would always like tell me, they're like, all right, Dewey, whenever you get older and you become master counselor, and if you ever become state master counselor or the international master counselor, you got to be ready to speak. But in all reality, I wouldn't be the person I am or the speaker that I become if it wasn't for one of my best friends, Ryan Teely. Obviously, the speech that most of people heard today, Ryan helped me write that, and he helped me practice it, and he just helped me get comfortable. So all my credit that I always give to speaking in front of people is because of him, because he always just keeps it straight up. If I am like shaking, he goes, Dewey, stop shaking. I get it, there's like 500 Masons or anybody out there, but just pretend like they're naked or something. I'm like, no.
That makes it worse, especially in that room.
Yeah. So he's just like, okay, just think that there's nobody out there. I'm like, what, you want me to close my eyes? He's just like, no, just breathe. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I'm breathing now. And
you know what's funny is when he just said just breathe, he was unintentionally doing a Teely impression because that sounded like how Ryan would have said it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but Ryan was obviously heavily involved in DeMolay as well. So but that's what that organization fosters, is that kind of supportive system and
mentorship.
It challenges younger men to be able to rise to the occasion and overcome those fears and sets them up better for life. And it's really impressive, honestly, what you guys managed to accomplish.
Yeah, like I've been saying, like, DeMolay is amazing, but no matter what, you can't do it by yourself. You always have to go out there and find a good person to follow in their footsteps with, which not only with Ryan Teely, but also his little brother Sam Teely's, and the Teelys in general, and my buddy that I met a few years ago, John Stewart. I mean, you just got to find someone to lead you by example. And that's how you get so far in life in general. You always have to find a role model, and that's why I'm so glad I've stepped foot in DeMolay. Like I said, at first I was scared because I didn't know what to expect. And, of course, Sean Noble was just like, Dewey, you're going to love it here. And then one of my first DeMolay meetings, before I went by Dewey, I went by, my real name is Jacob. And I met a guy named Steven Maddox, if anybody knows who that is. And he sat me down. He's just like, what's your name? I was like, Jacob. He goes, no, it's not. Your name is Dewey. And I was just like, who is Dewey? And then he showed me Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle, and I'm just like, oh my God. So like I just said, you just got to find someone that you can follow in their footsteps, and not only one person. It's more important that you find more amount of people, so then you can understand from different priorities on what they go by, and you can just have them lead you by an example. And I wouldn't be the state master counselor I am today with all those people I just named off. So
excellent.
So if anyone's interested in DeMolay, where do they go to get more information?
If anyone is interested in DeMolay, you can either go to wi.demolay.org or the International DeMolay website, which I do not have it at the top of my tongue, but if you would just look up International DeMolay.
DeMolay.org or something.
We'll make sure we get it in the show notes. We can do that.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, so if you have any questions, of course, just go to wi.demolay.org, and right when you click on it, it will explain what DeMolay is. There'll be pictures and everything and all of that, so... Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Dewey, thank you so much for coming on. Great job today, and I enjoyed talking with you.
Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Of course.
Well, Andrew, that wraps up the 180th annual communication of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin.
Sure does. What a fun weekend it's been, and honestly a blessing to have so many fun conversations with so many cool, interesting brethren from our state. It's just like it's hard to even describe in words how fun it was to make so many good connections.
Oh, I agree. It was an absolute blast. They're all running together in my head, so I'm really excited to listen to them once we get the episodes out, because I could use the refresher on all the conversations we had, honestly, at this point.
Yep.
So,
and
with that, we will leave you guys here. Maybe on the episode after this 1 or 2 runs from up here at Annual, we can just kind of debrief our annual experience.
Yep. And to all the brethren who came and visit us, thank you for stopping by. And please be sure to follow us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok.
Shoot us an email at timeforfellowship@gmail.com.
Awesome. Everyone have a good day.
Take it easy.